Well, let's get started again. What's up, my people? This is Real Talk with Mr. O, and welcome again to According to the Law. And that's all together according to the law. One more time, I just want to explain to you why I launched this platform. I launched this platform to counter the main white screen media lies, to induce thought control. My people, we're way past mind control. We're under thought control because our thoughts are not even our own. We repeat the lies because that's all that's in our mind. I've said it several times before. The white news media is the visual scriptures of our times. And why do I say visual scriptures? It's religious, except that we see it on the news, CNN, Fox, Twitter. We don't believe that it has occurred, that it's real, except that they present it to us. And both all of these news outlets receive AP reports and also Reuters reports. So it's a part of the corporate media structure, and that's the way that really goes down. But again, I want to share with you this topic that I have started on. Again, this is a video. Excuse me. This is a video essay that I've been working on, and I wanted to share this with you. This the title of it. Let me get my whiteboard set and bring it up for you that you can see it. The title of it again is "Attack on the Black Man: Mass Incarceration Agenda, aka Georgia Anti-Gang Initiative, Part 4." This is an article I've been working on. It's a working article. Sometimes there can be some adaptations in it that has been going on up to this point that has made it the working article that I've said that it is. Okay. And with it, what goes on in it, I like to cite the news media or the white mainstream news media. And to do that, I think I need to protect myself and share with you what is called the fair use. The fair use is a 1976 copyright disclaimer that allows me to cite those nice little news media outlets, both print and broadcast, that have those copyright seals, that nice little C and the circle in the middle of it, because based on my research, I'll be doing some criticism, some commentary that's going to reflect on the truth, the real truth of what's really going on. So there it is for you to read. No, I'm not going to read it to you verbatimly. You see it there. There it is. I'm quoting it to protect myself. Now, with that said, let's get into the topic here, the subtopic. Um, as I've said before, I have I have worked on 10 elements that what I said that I see that go into the politics that make up the anti-gang initiative that's now law. I think if you check out my videos in the past, you will see House Bill, General Assembly of Georgia, HB 994, and Senate Bill 393. Both of those are the laws that was passed last summer that are now the anti-gang initiative of our great governor. I say that doing a little bit of, whatever. At any rate, here's the discussion for today. I'll be discussing numbers 5 and 6 of those 10 elements. Number 5, will the governor proposal be a universal anti-gang initiative directed at all gangs who engage in current or past criminal activities? And let's get number 6 there for you. Number 6 is what is really happening on the streets of Georgia when law enforcement execute covert and overt investigations to apprehend, arrest, and prosecute all gang members? Okay, that's the subtopic that we're dealing with today under this attack on the black man. And so let's get right into it without any further delay. Getting that number 5 again. Let's put that back up there real quick. That you see again where we are, and we share that with you. So we're going to start with this one and get into the class discussion. So let's get that out of there. clean up that whiteboard that you see where we are. And as I like to always do, I like to say to clean off that whiteboard real quick. Get into our next element and make sure that you definitely feel welcome. And I want to say again, welcome to class, and let's get started in this. As you can see, this is my format. The classroom teacher, the educator of some 30 years. Okay, so let's get right into it. Again, will Governor Kemp proposal be a universal action? Well, again, like I discussed with you in the last video, we suddenly got this bombardment about these gangs that was descending on the state of Georgia. 2018, 2019, right after Kemp got into office. So again, this is a working article. One more time to say this, I'm going to read it. As I've said in the past, the way we read and the way we talk in a discussion like this is not the same. So I will stick to the script, because when we get off the script, I can get on a tangent, and I don't want to get on a tangent. I want to make sure that I cover everything that I've set out to cover in this video. And it won't be a long discussion, so let's get right into it. Let's clean off that whiteboard and bring up the, okay. When the white media gets into this discussion, let's get on into it. Sorry about that. Cleaning that whiteboard. When the media presents the dangerous proliferation of gangs, family, most of the time what we've seen has been black gang members. As referenced before, you saw that if you check out some of my earlier videos, channel 2, the station I seem to be a little bit attached to, they shared with us what the gang member had to say in front of the Fulton County Jail. And also in that, some, if not in that same report, but around the same time, they aired a white gang person being arrested on a what shall we say, a parole violation. But since that time, all of the airing on all the news broadcasts is of black males. If not all, I might not want to be absolute, but we will say at least 8 out of 10. Okay, let's be that way. The obvious slant or angle is toward the black gang member. However, when you look, let me get this is I'm reading my text now. However, when the reader is left with the impression that the crusade against gangs is colorblind and ethnicity is not an issue, and thus we infer that the anti-gang law has a universal application. Let's say that again. Since Channel 2 did that little dub about that white gang member who was arrested on a parole violation, the obvious slant angle is toward the black gang member. We are left with the impression that the anti-gang crusade is colorblind and ethnicity is not an issue, and thus we infer that it's universal. The news media, both broadcast and print, present that to us every time. Let me show you another channel just in case you think I'm just making that up. Here's a look at channel 11. And that might be ideal. But what happens in practicality in the real world, the evidence is strong against that. Let's get a little further down into this discussion. It is not universal. Again, look back at that my last 2 videos, and you'll see, based on a prison policy initiative, the state of Georgia locks up about 60% of the black population compared to 30%. When that number is obviously not the same. That's not consistent for what I'm going to share with you later in the FBI UCR Uniform Crime Report. It shouldn't be that way. Let's get a little deeper, as I said, looking at it on the universal level. Let me clean up my whiteboard, get that out of there. We're going to move on deeper into this discussion. So, we should see something more like this, family. And let's get back. Let's listen. According to the Marietta Journal, the largest gang operation in Georgia are the Bloods, and then neck and neck with that are the Crips. The same article lists the Aryan Brotherhood, a white gang, close to the bottom at number 5. Hmm. Here I gotta inject here. That's not realistic. They are the most dangerous gang as well. As more significant being down at number 4 or 5. Again, I must inject that the major role of the corporate right media is to lead us away from the truth, and then to look to it for clarity, which it will never do. It will never give us clarity. It will always confuse us, confuse the issue, and constantly make us think that this is a colorblind, clear society and everything is equal and everything is being applied fairly. That's not the case. It's definitely not the case. Just look at that right there, family. Let me get back on. Let's consider that article. Uh, let's consider the article that these criminal gangs are operating in the streets of Georgia. The Aryan Brothers have identifying colors and tattoos and many other identifying gang paraphernalia. According to the Southern Poverty Intelligence Report Fall of 2005, the Aryan Brother is a criminal gang operating in illegal drugs, trafficking, violence, and murder. Check out that article right there. I want you to look at it. I'm not making this up. Like I said, I want to bring you the receipts. Move rather fast. This is the title of the article. Was smashing the Aryan gang, smashing the Shamrocks is what it's called. I don't want to move too fast. You can look at that. Look at that. So again, this is a street gang, an illegal street gang that's involved in crime, drug trafficking, violence, and murder. Okay. So, but yet we get the impression when we look at the media that, hey, it's mainly black gangs that are the most dangerous gangs out here. And that's not the case. That's definitely not what's going on. So, with that being said, let's release that, clear up the whiteboard, move a little further along, get that out of there. All right, then what's that other gang then? The other gang, bring up that gang, what's it, number 4? Even though, let me just stick to my article. I just keep going. I can rant on. Let's see. Even though the article documents their criminal activities in California, the Aryan Brotherhood, like officials like to do with black gangs, assert that they are connected with gangs in other states. Case in point, the alleged Tennessee connection of the teens killed in Clayton County. Again, Georgia House Bill 994 enumerates that the criminal activity of gangs committed in other states will be subject to prosecution in Georgia. So we're going to expect to see some prosecution in the state of Georgia, family. Let's look at this other version of some gangs. To bring it home, in an article of Jacksonville Times Union, white supremacist gang ran meth from their prison cell in Georgia. Meth. They wasn't selling it to the other prisoners. They was running meth in the prisons and getting it out on the street. That's what's going on, family. Let's get away from that article. Get out of that. We wanted to clean my whiteboard and bring another article for you. We're gonna put that there and get number 2 there. Another documented fact about white gangs activities is in the article. Federal official indicted more than 40 people linked to white supremacist prison gang. According to the NPR online report, let me make sure you can see that a little better, family. I don't want to make sure document it. Get that one out of there. Come on, you need to move for me. I can't see where my there we are. There we are. Look at this. Here we are. NPR. The report named some 40 people of ghost-face gangsters are alleged to be involved in drug trafficking and illegal firearm possession. According to U.S. Attorney Bobby Christen, the gang started in prison but has spread to the free world, according to this article. Now one directs the reader's attention back to the article that I started out with, talking about that Marietta article, that had these gangs listed as 4 and 5. That makes no sense. Aryan Brotherhood and Ghostface gangs are white gangs operating in Georgia. When considering these facts, any one of the white gangs should have been neck and neck tied up there with the Crips or the Bloods, not listed way down there at number 4 to give you an impression that these gangs are not as such. Well, that's the white media. There's a conditioning of the mind, and I want you to see that before I got away from it. There's a conditioning of the mind. Sorry about that, family, if I didn't change that over fast enough. Just keeping up with my program and trying to watch my time. I want to make sure this is a brief one. So, what's going on, family? What's going on? I think we know what's going on. Let's clean up that whiteboard, get that out of there. Bring this up. Profiling, family. Profiling is going on. Definitely profiling is going on. Let's look at the data. Let's look at the data here. Profiling. Give me the data. It's coming up, family. The data profiling. This is what I was talking about earlier. I wanted to share with you. This is called the FBI Uniform Criminal Report. And as you can see at the top, total arrests. We'll look across the country. Total arrests now. Under white and black, you'll see that white people murder is like 4,100. Black people murder, 4,900. We see more blacks than white in jail for murder, even though these numbers statistically are neck and neck. We'll look a little further down. We got rape. Oh my God, white people are on a sexual tangent here. Yeah, that sex trafficking law, part of HB 994, should be racking up and bringing in some of these white people for their sexual expose. They're updating the sexual registry in that law. 12,000 to 5,000 to black. And again, that's this. I only want to share that with you to give you the truth. Why is the slant? Why is the angle always presenting black men or black people as the most criminal people in this country when it's obviously the other way around? The reporting should be showing us, as I stated in one of my earlier videos, the reports on these channels, this corporate white media, in my nice little city of Atlanta, Channel 2, Channel 5, and Channel 11, they should be showing us white folks, white folks, white folks. But they seem to always want to show us black, black, black. That's the slant. That's the angle. So there's that FBI documentation I wanted to give to you. Yes, profiling is going on. Let me get that out of there. Get back to, let me make some analogies here. We'll go to an article that was printed by the same agency I was referring to earlier. I want to go to this article here. Again, that agency, the Southern Poverty Law Center, who also did that piece back there about the Aryan group. Let me get back on my board. With my board on the internet, I gotta watch my fingers here. This article, I liked it because it mirrors the state of Georgia in terms of how the population layout is and what percentage of the population is being locked up. This article, let me stay on my text. Hence, again, we're talking about profiling. Hence, what we should see is a large, greater number, going back to the point I was making with that FBI stuff. What we should see is a greater number of white gangs in prison equal to or surpassing black gangs. But that is not the case. Since we do not have data on actual number of gang members who are locked up by ethnicity, we can only deduce by looking at the actual prison population in the state of Georgia. That's what I was referencing again. According to the Prison Policy Initiative, and again, you can look back at my video, go to that site, we see that more black people are locked up in Georgia compared to white people. And from that, we can deduce that there are more black gangs incarcerated than are white. Even though, according to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, white people commit or are arrested for more crimes than any other group. One must question, how then do black people whose population in Georgia is smaller than whites end up being the majority in Georgia prison? Racial profiling. And here's an article that I want to cite that does this. In this article, titled Racial Profiling in Louisiana, Unconstitutional and Counterproductive by the SPLC, the report unequivocally states that when police officers disproportionately focus on people of color, black people, it means that they are disproportionately ticketed, arrested, prosecuted, and ultimately imprisoned. In 2016, according to the article, black adults comprise only 30% of Louisiana adult population, but 53% of the adults who are arrested and 67% in prison. Interesting enough, like I said, Georgia population almost mirrors LA, Louisiana, with whites being the majority at some 58%, and blacks being being a minority at 30%. More blacks are in prison than whites. Again, referring to that prison policy, check out the data. We all we got is profiling. Another example of that. Let's get out of this and get into this other article. Get me out. Other article number 8. Bring that out. Number 7. Bring number 8 up. Example of it, something we know became famous under old Giuliani, that mobster. Yeah, that's it. Here, look at this. The old stop and frisk game. Who's being stopped? Who's being profiled? Who's being singled out? Look at the data right here. Another example of police profiling is the stop and frisk policy in New York City. Originally, in an effort to reduce low-level crime, the police commission initiated a stop and question. So it eventually evolved into stop, question, and frisk to what is now stop and frisk. Check out my last video. What did we show? 2 young boys walking together, police officers seeing, identifying colors. Check out the video. You see I'm making the point. I'm bringing you the receipts. So the point is, the policy became clearly identified with profiling. Look at the data right there. Look at what happens. It was profiling. Then those lawsuits started happening. Then all of a sudden, stop and frisk started becoming more unpopular when the city coffers were starting to get into. And this data is 2019. 13,559 stops were recorded. Look at the turnout. 66% was innocent, 59% were black, 29% Latinx, whatever that is, and 9% white, contrary to the FBI's uniform report there. So what's going on? Profiling. You can say it unequivocally. It's profiling, family. Let me get out of that. Let's not keep myself too long. We want to move a little further out of this and bring up the next element that we want to talk about. Clean up my whiteboard. So, according to the New York Civil Liberty Union, 9 out of 10 of the people police stopped turned out to be innocent. The governor's gang initiative will not be a universal measure to clamp down on gangs in Georgia, but another attack on the black man, a mass incarceration agenda. Let me get on into my last point over here. We got out the profiling, and then we want to get into the next discussion here. Element 6. Pardon me, number 9. So, family, I'm back. Long time without seeing my face, but I had to put the data in front of you. It was crucial that I do this, and I want to make sure I bring my video down. So, element 6 says, what is really happening on the streets of Georgia when law enforcement execute covert and overt investigation to apprehend all gangs in Georgia? And basically, family, we don't need a Harvard Law School research to prove the point. Hey, the people are telling us. The people are saying it. We don't need a court decision to tell us what the truth is. The people are saying it. The people are telling us. The people word counts. We don't need a congressional investigation on the 9/11 style that also is designed to confuse you and lead you away from the truth. The people are stating it. It's out there. It's what's really is going on. So let me get into this. Get into my last element here, family, and get out of this for you. What's going on the streets? Well, what's going on the screen is this. Thanks to this right here, Wren versus United States. This is the way profiling got underway. And under this quote-unquote historic, famous, infamous landmark court decision. And the legal question was some young male, some people will stop, and the legal question was asked, hey, did the officer conduct, and they like to do this trickster, an unlawful reasonable search in violation of the Fourth Amendment? And the answer to it was no, he didn't. And since the court put its stamp of approval on stopping people for no apparent reason other than a tail light out or a tag light out, and then they got into searching and looking into the vehicle, we've gotten into this measure of profiling. We've gotten into this measure of targeting black males. And there goes that big engine. Let me get back on my text because I can rant on and I want to bring this under a certain amount of time. Thanks to the Wynn versus United States that opened the way for police pretextual stop. Police, sheriff, deputies, and state police are engaged in profiling when it comes to known gang members in the state. That's all that's happening. The tail light will out. In predominantly black communities, family, and predominantly black communities, what will we see happen? We will see things like this. Let me get this right up here for you. Keep it rolling. In predominantly black community, roadblocks have been set up by police in small cities south of Atlanta on a pretext of looking for gang paraphernalia. Black motorists have been pulled over for so-called safety violation. A headlight out, a tail light, a tag light is out, and when the police approach the driver, he suddenly discovers known gang members in the car. And we're going to deal with that known gang member nonsense. I want to know how all of a sudden any little police officer, any little deputy somewhere rolling on the road, he pulled somebody else out over and said he's a known gang member. Now everybody in the cars are charged with that, associating, which again is not in the law, with a gang member. Back on my point. And what then befall all the other park occupants, like I just said, they're charged with that associated. This is not happening in predominantly white community, family. No, it's not happening in predominantly white communities. We're not going to see that in predominantly white. There are no police searches of white gang. There's no police setup outside of a trailer park or a predominantly white community area and looking for gang paraphernalia. That's not happening. And there are no police searches for white gangs. One will not make the distinction. And this is the game they played not too long ago. All of a sudden on one of the channels, when that attack happened on the Virginia State Capitol, suddenly they discovered this white gang member down here in Georgia, somewhere in South Georgia, around Columbus area, and arrested him. Wow, boom, whatever. We're not going to make no distinction there. And let's see, let me get back up. I'm not going to make a distinction between the KKK. Get right on the point. They are gangs like any other gangs. I'm not going to make a distinction between the white militia. They are gangs like any other gang. Get on down. They are gangs. Okay? That's all that is. Let me get... They are gangs like any other gangs whose cover is that they are white and are in some cases militias, and their criminal activity is that they are hate groups, which is a crime, which is a racist agenda, who's also engaged in terrorism, which is a crime, and who's engaged in criminal activities such as illegal drugs, violence, and murder. Look at them. Like I've showed you in the past, those gangs, the ghost-faced Aryans, they have colors and they have tattoos, they wear matching clothes. However, the police deputies, like I'm showing you right here, the police deputies, the state troopers of Georgia, don't see them as gangs. Look at them standing right there in front of those KK members at the Gilmer County Courthouse. They are seen as nationalists, and some are considered militia groups who are, the good old boys. Perhaps many of them may be law enforcement relatives, like we discovered might be happening on the steps of the Capitol when that invasion went down. Okay, let's see. Let me refer to the article. Perhaps many of them are law enforcement relatives. According to an AJC article dated May 8, 2012, Coweta County Sheriff was quoted saying, "Law enforcement haven't had much discussion yet about how to classify extremist groups like the National Socialist Movement within the larger scope of Georgia's gang, but the activity is increasingly of concern." No roadblocks to pull them over, okay? Maybe the sheriff impression is based on the relationship that the militia national group has had with the law enforcement for the longest. Another article as seen on the U.S.-Mexico border went on July 4th. Let's see what year back. I think 1997, something like that. Check out my article. You see the references at the bottom. There was a militia group down there acting like paramilitary on the border of Arizona. They showed up to police the border, which they've been doing since even more recent time when Trump got in office. They were patrolling the border, trying to keep the illegal immigrants out. The Border Patrol were not alarmed, according to that article that discusses the relationship of law enforcement and militia group in the United States. They were not alarmed that these armed men were masked acting as vigilante. Their version of vigilante is cool, but let us get out there acting like vigilante is a problem. This is why when you look at that rally right there in Gilmer County, the KKK, one of the oldest terrorist group in this country, they're not seen as a gang. Or when the Brotherhood hold this annual rally on the courthouse step, they're not seen as a gang. And as you see, the law enforcement is standing there, Georgia State Patrol, between them and the protesters. These white gangs are protected. Now let's bring it even a little more recent, family. These gangs are protected. Look at this. Bring it a little more recent. What do we see here happening? A little more recent here. Kenosha, Wisconsin. The white militia gang showed up. Showed up to help out. Wasn't that nice of them? Didn't nobody ask for them to come up. In August of 2020, we witnessed the connection of white militia gangs and law enforcement when the white police chief was questioned on banning the white militia out of Kenosha, Wisconsin. The official went silent, literally held his lips together to keep from saying anything. Like the Border Patrol, Kenosha law enforcement are not alarmed when they see white men from a gang with semi-automatic weapons and rifles during a riot-like situation patrolling the street. In fact, the word was that they was out there helping them, quite frankly. They were. My computer's acting a little slow. It's going to bring it up for me. Look at it. According to the narrative, this one of the guys that was one of the white militia, they were there to help out. They were there to help out, family. Look at this. Look what the article said. I'm going to get down into when they talk about that boy that jacked and shot and killed somebody. That's what I want to see. Kenosha police. It's a silence. Get on down to it. Bear with me, family. It's going to come up. It's a long article I was reading. And I had it set to be there for me, but it just doesn't want to pull it up fast enough. Let me get with it. Look at that. Kenosha. Law enforcement allowed the guy to walk away. That's what I want you to really see. Get that right there, real quick. One of the criminal gang members was a 17-year-old from Illinois, but because he is white, he has a say so. He can be in the Kenosha white gang militia, and law enforcement will give them water and thank them for showing up to help. Thus, the policing tactic has been, is, and will be used to only look for black gangs and not be executed on white gangs. There's a long-standing road between white militia, white gangs in law enforcement, and they seem to have a targeted view. Again, I want to say that FBI report that went out June last year said look out for white extremists. But they didn't look out for white extremists. They looked out for, black people who are, trying to form their own militia and try to treat them as extremists. Anyway, that's another discussion. Okay, again, I'm going to say we will not see police and roadblocks in white communities, whether police is looking for colors and tattoos or any other paraphernalia. Let me bring that down. I want to get him out of here. The little boy helping everybody out. What will we see, family? Let me bring it back on me. Clean off my whiteboard. Bring up my... There we go. Get into my last point here. Make sure I made all my points and get out of my article. Yeah. What will we see? Get into the closing. And the attack on him. Sorry for that little silence. I just want to get that in there. Get that there. So what will we see? we see this. We will see again that it's not a universal plan. We will see more profiling, as it has always been the case in this country. Okay, that's what we do. So governance initiative will not be universal. Policing will do what it has always done: profiles and target black people. Furthermore, the data unequivocally shows that policing in the United States, be it in the North or South, East or West, involves singling out African Americans with a prejudged attitude, assumption that this group is suspect and are engaged in criminal activities. The assertion is validated further by the fact that in Georgia, like the rest of the United States, white people commit more crimes than black people, according to the FBI UCR. White people make up about 54% of the population in Georgia, and as I said, and 30% of the population is black, but approximately 6% or greater of the prison population is black compared to the 30% that is white. The only covert and overt police activity on gangs is aimed at young black men. That's what I want to share with you, family. Again, this is what I'm about. I had to bring this to you. I wanted to share this with you. Um, again, this is not happening just in Metro Atlanta. This is happening all over the state of Georgia. Get out of this. It's taking. I went a little further than I wanted to. There's some 50 odd counties in Georgia, and if one young black man has been pulled over for associating with a known gang member, facing charges, we're looking at 52 young black males, 50 some odd black males. And if that's only half, we're talking about 25. One is too many. And that's what I want you to know. We need to be aware of it and make some noise about it, start making this thing change as what we can. So thank you so much for joining me again. The subject is for you. I want to bring that back, that you look at again. This is what it's all about. And if you like this video, share this video. Give me your comments. Again, let's be wise. Thank you so much. And now again, I like to do my nice little number with the classroom. Class is now dismissed.